there's not a lot I can do to help those folks. I don't want to just increase their productivity. I don't want to just say, okay, Bob, you're a dentist that looks at dentistry this way. It's just a job. It's just a business. You know what? I can't really help you. I can't. I could teach you how to, maybe schedule a little bit better, but it all comes down to this deal where it's all about you and it's not really about the patient.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Bruce B. Baird, and you're listening to the Productive Dentist Podcast. In this podcast, I will give you everything that I've learned over the last 40 years in dentistry, working with thousands of dentists. I'll tell you, it's not that my way is the only way. It's just one that has worked extremely well for me, and I'd love to share that with you so you too can enjoy the choices and lifestyle that productivity allows. More time for things you love, increased pay, better team relationships, and lowered stress. Let's get into it with this week's episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast.
Hi, my name is Dr. Bruce Baird, and this is episode number 117 of the Productive Dentist Podcast. Today, I want to talk about something. We've talked about it in the past, but I think now is a great time to visit this word called excellence. I think we all want perfection. We all want things to be perfect. But when we think of things, what we want is every area of our business to be guided by excellence. We want to do, I want to do the best provisional restorations that we can possibly do. I want to do the best final restorations we can possibly do. I want to take care of the patient in an uncommon way, using excellence as the guide. We want to go above and beyond the call of duty, if you will, because it's really a problem. And I think practices go through this over their life expectancy. Initially, when you first open your practice, you're extremely in tune with the systems, the equipment, and everything else. It starts to take time to understand the patient and excellence in taking care of the patient because you're so worried about the equipment working properly and getting the right team. We talked about getting the right team on a previous podcast. So let's make the assumption that you did hire that team. So you've got people who are on your team that are working, they're all pulling the rope in the same direction, okay? If I step back and again, reflect what was the big difference in our practice than I see in other practices. I think some practices look at the practice of dentistry as a business. Okay, yeah, we teach business skills. We teach you how to do your, how to do your QuickBooks, how to do all of that stuff. Yes, that's important. But having this view, and I'm going to call it a world view, that we want our business, our practice, our relationships to all start with excellence. I don't want it to be perfect. That's not realistic, but I want it to be excellent. I talked about it in previous programs that I, wanted to have a model practice. Well, that was driven based on excellence. That was, and if you go through this lifestyle of the practice, not lifestyle, but the sequence of events that happen in dental practice, you get extremely good early on. You're marketing to patients, you're doing this stuff, you're getting people to come in the office. Now you go down the road 5-8 years. And at some point you begin to take great care of the patient, better care of the patient than you were before. I remember when we first opened our office, we were seeing 300 new patients a month. This is crazy, but we did have a nuclear power plant that was right down the road. So I felt like, we had all these new patients. And I wanted everybody to have an over-the-top experience. Unfortunately, when you have that many new patients, nobody gets an over-the-top experience. What does that do to you? Man, I had to learn to handle my emotions. It was really, really tough because there were problems. There were problems across the board. There were systems that hadn't been thought out. There were all these things. But then in your practice, you get to that point to where you start to go up and you're increasing your productivity. And then you get to be in your 30s. You start having, you've got kids, 40s, You got kids, they got baseball, they got softball, they got whatever. They're soccer. I mean, they have it all. Basketball, little dribblers, everything. And what ends up happening is you tend to uh, rest back on your laurels. You're making great money, but you lose sight of this excellence. You lose sight of the excellent experience that your patients are going to have. And I promise you, the sooner you can get into that mode of measuring things based on excellence, talking to your team based on excellence, talking to your patients, all of a sudden you start to see that productivity continuing to go up. Um, how important is it to be guided by this thought process of excellence? I think it's everything. I had a partner early on, wasn't really interested in excellence, just wanted to get the job done and go home and be with family. There are dentists out there that's really what they're doing. They haven't been to any other CE. They haven't gone to any programs. They haven't, they're doing the same thing they did in dental school or shortly thereafter. And they don't really change. They're not driven by excellence. Well, I don't really have, there's not a lot I can do to help those folks. I don't want to just increase their productivity. I don't want to just say, okay, Bob, you're a dentist that looks at dentistry this way. It's just a job. It's just a business. You know what? I can't really help you. I can't. I could teach you how to, maybe schedule a little bit better, but it all comes down to this deal where it's all about you and it's not really about the patient. And, Productive Dentist Academy, we help all kinds of people, but those are the most difficult, are the ones who really don't have the why that they're doing it. The why I'm doing it is to make money and spend more time with my family. Okay, well, that's good. My why is to do that, but my why is to take excellent care of my patients. I want it to be above and beyond the call of duty. I want it to be something where people go, man, when you go to Granbury Dental Center, those people, I mean, they're on top of it. They're great people. They like each other. You can just tell they like each other. Why? Because they're not fighting. That's in my mind, not fighting, but they help each other. And they've got this attitude of gratitude. And so excellence is the thing that, to me, if you lose sight of that, if you lose sight of what you're delivering to your team, if you lose sight of how you're delivering to your patients and their experience, these are the things that drive practices not in the ground, but it does not allow that practice to flourish like it should. It doesn't allow you to take care of more patients that you could do. And it really stalls the entire, in my opinion, the entire reason why I got into dentistry. It kind of puts a stall on it. The more people I see, the more I can help. Now, if I can put systems in place that allow me to see more people, and I don't mean running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I mean, put systems in place, scheduling in place that allow excellence, um, marketing to specific procedures that I love to do that I can provide excellence at. Um, and this goes across the board, from hiring people to, the labs you use. I always put up a deal. Who here thinks that you work with the best lab in the world? And, I'll have 2 or 3 people raise their hand. I go, guys, everybody has to raise your hand. If you're not working with who you believe to be the best lab in the country, and there's a lot of best labs, don't get me wrong. I use Root Lab in Kansas City, and I love those guys. I grew up with them. And I know, for me, they're the best. That leads to my feelings of excellence. It leads to my feeling of, we're doing the best work. We're doing, we're putting out a product for patients that I could put out for my daughters, for my buddies on the golf course, for anybody that can come into our practice. Why? Because we believe in excellence. We're not going to just stick a temp on there and have it rough. Does it happen? Yes, but we train. We get away from that. We're training excellence, not perfection. And so and we've talked about training. We've talked about all those things in past podcasts. But I want this to be something for the new year, and this may be coming out after the first of the year, but think about this new year as your new commitment to excellence. I want to look at the practice. I'm going to be introspective. I'm going to look at myself and how I feel about it. I'm going to talk to my team. I'm going to find out how they feel about it. I'm going to review the systems in place. That's what we do at Productive Dentist. We help you review your systems and tweak them. Why? There's not that many systems in a dental office, by the way. You would think it's horrible, but there's not that many systems. If you get down these systems well with a thought of excellence, trust me, you're going to start to enjoy your practice. Maybe you're in that plateau stage. Maybe you're in that early phase. Maybe you're in the late phase where you're just thinking, I want to get out of dentistry and I'm ready to retire. It doesn't matter. Every patient that walks in your door deserves that feeling that they're getting excellent dentistry. Now, what I will tell you is excellence does not really equal quality dentistry. And I say that with all due respect. You can be excellent, but if you're not doing great dentistry, that makes it really hard, because what happens is you're actually seeing lots of patients because of the energy of your practice, the energy of your business. If you feel like there's some areas in your clinical practice that you need work on, there are great places to go learn. And I've helped docs for years go through John Coyce, go to see John. Go see Arun Garg for implants now. Go see Paul Petrangaro. Go see these guys. Go take courses. If you feel like you have a limit, because it always kind of pisses me off when I see an office down the street where I know the quality is not good, but they've learned the human part of it. So patients, their parking lot's full, and I'm going, dang, I wish that guy would do better dentistry. And so maybe you're one of those people. Maybe you're not. I hope you're not, because if you are, it's okay. I had an associate years ago that was just not a very good clinical dentist, but I challenged him, and I challenged him to go to certain courses. And guess what? He became an excellent clinical dentist. And I know all of us want to be that, but that's where introspection comes in. That's where looking at ourselves. That's all of the things that we look at. And so it doesn't matter where you're at in your practice, the growth mode, whether you're in startup mode, whether you're in plateau mode, whether you're in transition mode, it really makes no difference, because each patient deserves that feeling that they're getting excellence and that we're delivering excellence in what we do. So let's look at this year, look back on what we've done this year. I'm looking at myself right now, looking at this new year. What things am I talking about on the podcast? What things am I doing at Productive Dentist Academy that can lead to better results? What things can I do in comprehensive finance, another company I have? What things can I do to help that become mainstream when you're helping patients? Remember, we don't have too many dentists. We just have a lack of good financial arrangements, because most dentists aren't doing the work that they have that walks in the door. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. This was excellent.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast. If you found this episode helpful, make sure you subscribe. Pass it along to a friend. Give us a like on iTunes and Spotify, or drop me an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. Don't forget to check out other podcasts from the Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentistpodcast.com. Join me again next week for another episode of the Productive Dentist Podcast.